In this module, we'll look at 3.3. We'll be starting our first architectural project. It's called Apartment 1, but it's mostly just working with the file and understanding what can happen. Let's look at our successful completion objectives. We want to start the new architectural project. We want to set various measurement parameters of a project and understand the concept of snap dimensions and object snaps. Modify the parameters and settings on a project. And then finally we want to close the project. We'll add save and then we'll exit Revit. So this is where we're going to take a look at all those numerous buttons that the Revit file gives us. Some of them we actively engage with, and something, please leave them alone, or else trouble will happen. So let's take a look. I'm going to open up, and you will too, our file, the new blank file for Revit, and we'll see what we get. Double click. Sometimes it's a little stubborn. Sometimes because of the safety malware on our UVU computers, you have to go and double click the second that appears so that it becomes a download and is outside of the file. So let's open it up. The first notice you'll get, and this is because this is an older file, again it's probably 2023 and we're using 2024. If you have the free Autodesk version, there's no way around it. But you can fortunately upgrade the model, so we'll click yes. We will upgrade the model, and then that will cause a conversion to take place, and we will soon see our file, and then we can make our modifications. I wanted to just highlight to you that, you know, as we're starting out, you really are hanging out. This is your neighborhood right here. All the stuff that we talked about is good, but you're going to get away with just using this little area, so you don't have to memorize too much. And it's always a danger in Revit because this book wants to show you the entire scope of the project, but we just want to learn how to make walls and move in a step-by-step manner. So let's take a look at the architectural project. Let me pull up the specifications. Here's the specifications that come directly from the book, and I'm pulling up this sheet. It's also that first page on your module, so I've magnified it to help me out to read it. In this tutorial number 1, in this tutorial you will create a new project file for the apartment number 1 project with the following parameters. And then, not to say that the book doesn't have a little humor, it says the expected time for this is 15 minutes. And that's humorous, as we shall see. The template file will be the imperial. The project units for imperial will be in feet and inches, fractional inches. So we're going to do these settings. We're going to length, dimension, snap, increment for the imperial. We don't have to worry about metric unless we're drafting for another country, or the client requests metric, which hasn't happened a lot. File name to be assigned, we're going to give it a name, and then we're going to open up Revit and do all these details. So we have opened up our Revit, and now we're going to keep this page because we're going to try and check off the sheets. I made a copy for it, so let's take a look. Let's get back to our Revit file that has this information. Okay, so I have 2 screens, and I need to bring this one back. Okay, and for the sake of showing things on this projector, let's shrink it. A couple of notes. I want to show you that I did sign in to my 360 account. Hopefully you do that, and you have a 360 account. I think it's almost essential that you get the 360 if you're going to download Revit, but not quite sure. But anyhow, it does keep track of you, and that's a good thing because it helps you out if you get into trouble or if you have a crash. You can always get into the chat box and have your questions answered. And remember that the help desk is also right next door here if you need to type in help. How do you open a file? Things like that. Okay, let's carry on. So the first thing it wants to do, we're creating this new file project for apartment 1. We've opened up a template file. So I think this is a complete file here, and maybe this is what we check it to. The book isn't very specific. Okay, so we're going to open up the new file. We're going to do new, and the book didn't really explain what that was as far as what the completed file is going to give me. But let's keep going. We're asked to go get the construction template. We have commercial default. There's what we want. These are all templates. They're preloaded conditions and parameters which help us out, so we'll choose that. And we can see it's kind of blank, but we'll accept that. Okay. Okay. Next question, it says let's go set the project units. Project units can be found if you read the gray box on the page. Project units, we're going to go to our Manage tab. We're going to go to the settings, and here are all the settings that you will probably deal with, and not all at this one time, but here's what we want. That looks like a little boom box, but it's actually project units, which is what we want. While I'm here, I will mention the snaps are also here, and project information, and then you have a lot of other goodies. So let's go ahead and double click the units. Here's the great palette that we'll be working with. We're going to try to coordinate the details mentioned in the book and make sure that they apply onto these scales. Here's the thing that I'm glad I'm here to tell you, because you would lose a little time figuring out where are some of these palettes. I don't see them. And for example, project units, imperial feet. Okay, so the first thing I notice is my little palette here does not look like the picture in the book. So I'm going to be spending a little bit more time figuring out where things are. But since I read ahead, I'll know that length is what they're calling where I will adjust my feet in inches, and it's already set. Okay, and it's set to the nearest 1/32, which is really, we like to be exact, but sometimes that's a little too exact, because we are making plans for builders, and they're not going to be whipping out their 1/32 to please us. So let's try and keep it a little bit bigger measurement. And then it says we're going to continue forward to if we did millimeters, we'd take metrics, and then the next thing we want to adjust is, well, there are no more adjustments other than you're reading what each of these handles. You can do your degrees, rotation. Most of these stay set. Like, it's not something you go in here and change every day like you would in AutoCAD. For the most part, I usually start with the file. Really, relatively, do I come in here? I might change the scale, but I won't be doing it on here. Okay, so we'll accept that. Next thing we want to do, it jumps over. We're going to find out how to adjust our snaps. So we're going to go up here to the snaps tool, double click, and lo and behold, at least here's something that looks like AutoCAD. You remember our object snaps in AutoCAD. We can have endpoints signified, we can have centers. All the same things apply, so that if we were to create something, the snaps will come in and help us. Okay, and they want us to check on number D, 4D, set the length of the snaps. Okay, so the increments currently are 5 and 3, 5 feet, 2 feet. I'm going to go on faith here. I'm not sure why you're adjusting these, but maybe when I reread the book, it'll all make sense. And then we're going to jump over. Notice how these are all partitioned, like each one of these semicolons means a different box. So we're just going to bump this up to 3 feet, and then you got to be careful. This is going to set the increments, like how the check boxes are going to move. and then 1/2 is good. Okay, so we have that, and then set endpoint. Good. Midpoint. Well, since everything's checked, I'll be unchecking things. Nearest perpendicular. Work plane. Snap. Okay. Snap. And then save the project. Use the Save As tool. Okay, but a few more things. This is how you're going to get credit for this. So I'm going to accept that. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the drawing space here and how to start a Revit project. Go to Architecture, choose Wall, and as mentioned in the previous video, this is where your properties are. Everything pretty much, I usually start with the basic things and then I adjust later. I usually start with a basic wall. If you double click on a wall, we'll zoom in and we'll make a wall 25 feet by 25 feet. We're going to make a very boxy house. But look at the snaps. Snaps are kicking in. It kind of gives me that thin blue line to let me know where I have actually do that. So I would like you to make a box using wall. And look how your snaps operate. A good rule of thumb is to draft in a clockwise manner, because sometimes you can turn walls inside out, and you'll eventually find that. And then you also have to find out how you move your mouse button to let go of things. When it first starts out, it's tricky, but look at all the great things you get. You can imagine drawing with a line, but you get your degrees and you get the distance of that. Okay, so let me stop playing around. Okay, so I'm going to take my modify tool. If I want to erase something, I always have to, anytime you want to get out of a system, you have to go back to modify. So this will allow me to clear the board and I can delete it. And here's what I want to get you for this project. So we're going to take a look. The little tool that we use was that house and then level 1. Remember, those are your homes. So we're going to go choose the house, and we have a very nice set of walls, very generic, and we can see that just for a quick tour of duty, let's put in a door. Click a door. The first thing that comes up could be any door, but you can see how you need the wall in order for a door to find it. But it finds it pretty quickie. Finds it very quick. So let's also do a window. Architecture, clean the board. Let's pick a window. First one that comes up is this fixed. But if you want to get creative, and you do, you can hold down your mouse button and you'll see many other types that are available to you. I think mine is under stress, so I have to keep it easy. So I will add the window, choose. There they are. So it's one click, and then these are all the entirety of windows available to you, and you can always get more. These are called the families. Okay, so let's put in our window 2. Now I'm just doing this one face. This is a nice isometric. So modify to clear the board, and so remember, this gives you the isometric. Okay, so once you have this set up, then we're going to go ahead and save the model. I have a rule of only making a 15-minute video, so let's just go. We're going to save as. We're going to do project, and this is going to where we're going to plug in our file name, and I've typed it in. I'm going to press save, and then I'm going to go and submit it once the file is complete. I could go back and check into files, and I can see that a new one has been made. Here's what the book gave me, so I guess I'm just duplicating what the book did. So this concludes this particular assignment 1, apartment 1. Please submit to the top button.